What does the Bible say about money? Well, it says quite a bit, though we are not taught this in the mainline churches of today. The information I'm about to present to you comes from the book called Billions for the Bankers, Debts for the People. Now, give you an example of some verses here. Let me try to move this over here. Okay, the love of money is the root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6:10. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. Now, the problem with this is a lot of people today, especially your bankers, say, well, we're not charging usury, we charge interest. Usury is above X percentage. Well, this is not true according to the Bible and according to man's laws. It's built on shifting sand because many years ago, anything above 18% was considered usury. Now, you're lucky to find a bank that issues a credit card that charges less than 18%. So even by man's standards, it changes according to how greedy they are. So let's take a look at Deuteronomy 23:20. Unto thy brother thou shalt not lend upon usury, that the Lord thy God may bless you. And you say, well, how can we be blessed? Well, we're blessed if we know about economics. If we have a debt-based system, which we do today, money comes into existence through a debt. In other words, someone or some company incurs a debt. And with that debt, you pay back principal plus interest. Now, the interest is not created, so where does it come from? Well, it comes from other people, other companies, and governments borrowing more money at a later date. So you have more and more money entering into this system. So this is how economies are destroyed. There are three types of conquest. The first one is the most common, and that is by military conquest, but this maintains a lot of control, expense, and the people can rise up. People can see that their nation has been conquered by the military. The second method is by religion, where men are convinced they must give their captors part of their earnings as, quote, obedience to God, unquote, such as a captivity is vulnerable to philosophical exposure or by overthrow by armed force, since religion by its nature lacks military force to regain control once its captives become disillusioned. The third method can be called economic conquest. It takes place when nations are placed under tribute without the use of visible force or coercion, so that the victims do not realize they have been conquered. Tribute is collected from them in the form of, quote, legal, unquote, debts and protect all from some enemy. Their captors become their benefactors and protectors. Although this is the slowest to impose, it is most often quite long-lasting, as the captives do not see any military force arrayed against them. And so the instruments of their own society are used to transfer their wealth to their captors and make the conquest complete. In 1900, the average American worker paid few taxes and had little debt. Last year, and this is going back to, say, I think 1979, This is an old booklet, by the way. Last year, payments on debt and taxes took more than half of what we earned. Is it possible a form of conquest has been imposed on our people? Well, I believe it is. So this book goes to other facts and figures, according to the figures that were current at the time this book was made, but this is still relevant to today, very much so. Here we have debts for the people, the real story of money control over America. And a lot of divorces, for example, is a result of debt. So I hope that you look at money in a new way and see that there is a solution. Well, the solution is, again, provided in the Bible. And that solution is every 7 years, there's a cancellation of debt. Every 7 times 7 years, or 49 years, it's called the Jubilee year. Not only is there a cancellation of debt, but the property returns back to the original owners. In other words, a house can only be sold for the value it would be to someone until the year of Jubilee. What this does is it prevents people from losing their homes due to spending by one generation, getting in debt, drugs, whatever they waste their money on, and then they sell their homes to provide for this. Well, then of course their children will never have a home. And you say, well, what about debts? Who would lend the money if debts have to be canceled every 7 years? Well, that's provided for in detail. I don't want to get into this right now because I don't want to make this a lengthy video, but enough to get you interested, do more research, and God willing, I'll put out other parts to this video that goes into more detail. So thank you for listening.